Okay, before we get into it, we're going to break it up into two sections. We're going to do one on mobility. So mobility gives you a lot of the pain relief, but we're also going to address stability. So stability and working on activating the areas that need turned on is really where we get the long-term correction, right? So one of the things we were discussing was that depending on what you do for a living, you're coming into the gym, you may be more predisposed to that, right? And what you were talking about was... Yeah.
Sitting at a desk all day, typing.
Yeah, 80% of our workforce sits for 8 or more hours a day. So looking at it from that perspective, if that's where you're at all day, you're coming in here, your body already wants to be there. And so a lot of what we're doing in here, if you do it properly, is going to counteract the crap that you create by sitting all day at work, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and you want to start with some of the mobility work?
Yeah, so this one when I was doing some research on this stuff, Kelly Starrett's got some good stuff on Mobility WOD. There's a good scalene stretch that I took from him that I really liked. This had helped me immensely when I was treating mine. So the first thing we're looking at, low band, hook your hand through. We're just stepping out and forward and kind of looking up into the side, and you'll know when you're there, right? Your scalenes. Let's talk about that real quick. The kind of 3 muscle groups we wanted to address with this. But this is our scalene stretch.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at.
We're going on SCMs, upper traps, and some pec mobility. So those are going to be some of the key areas. And really the 2 muscle groups we want to focus most on from this perspective for activation is going to be lower trap and serratus.
For activation.
For activation. And we might have to do that on another video if we don't have time.
So this one we're talking, my scalene is essentially running from right here in your neck, right? So when you get in this position, you turn up and over, you'll feel, you can even do it without a band actually, just put your hand behind your back. And you should be able to feel that muscle get tight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and there's three muscles there, right? The scalene is broken up into 3 muscles, and there's actually vascular tissue and nerves that weave through them. So you'll get a lot of entrapment on those that create a lot of symptoms down in the radicular symptoms into the hands, numbness and tingling and stuff like that as well.
All right. Next one I would jump to is I always like this for my that upper trap, and sometimes I use a thicker band. But I'm just pulling here, and like he's pulling out, keeping good posture here as well. And I just kind of pull a little bit. And I'd go kind of soft here at first because this can get kind of intense. I'm just pulling that head down a little bit. And we're getting a nice stretch right here through that upper trap as well.
I think the key point though is that you're staying in good position here, staying in a good centrated pack position in the shoulder, and a good centrated pack position in the head and neck. Those are some of the keys that with that is still.
Okay.
The themes carry through.
And we hit just like I think Kelly talks about 2 minutes each side. I think is a pretty good prescription. So whenever I'm doing those, I'm hitting 2 minutes minimum on each side.
Absolutely.
All right. Now let's talk about thoracic spine rigidity.
Yeah.
And kind of how we would progress through these 3 tools here.
When we work on mobility, we use foam rolls really as an intro. So foam rolls, most people should progress within 6 or 8 weeks beyond a foam roll for the most part, and then maybe when they're acute. But working on the thoracic spine, there's a couple different ways we can work on it. Some through the soft tissue, kind of where Justin's at right now, and also getting extension. So if you need to increase mobility in the spine itself, and even reaching overhead with it as well, this can help us gain extension. If somebody's in a rigid, rounded position in their mid-back, there's a ton of problems with that we can show in future videos. But it sets you up for this hyperextension bias. So getting mobility through there, getting mobility through the armpit, so laying through the side and breaking through the armpit are some of the other key areas. And then the progression, like we mentioned, is I like to progress somebody from a foam roll to the double across bar, we call it the peanut, as fast as we possibly can. So the difference is this is now not as passive as this. With a foam roll, you're going to just lay an extension. This one, we're actually going to be mobilizing over it. So go ahead and you're going to use the center of it. Your spine is going to be cradled in the center of it. The balls are going to go around both sides. Excuse me. And you can just roll just like he's doing right there, but it's on the soft tissues. But if we're using it for joint mobility, we're going to have you packed down into a hollow position, arms up over your head, and reaching. So you're going to be getting extension right over the top of those balls, and you're going to slowly move up the spine at each joint.
Yeah, and that's a lot spicier.
It's a lot spicier.
We also introduced the, now again, like he was saying, this is not necessarily for everybody right off the bat, but it's certainly a little more, a little spicier than this foam roll. Okay, so this is just a PVC pipe, right? It's actually quite a bit less too in cost. So that's another tool you can use. And the last last thing we're going to cover was with the single lacrosse ball.
Absolutely.
You guys have seen this on Mobility Wad as well. I love this one. What we're doing is we're just sticking this right on the upper trap. Here, what I like to do is pick that butt up, drive through there, just working this arm through range of motion. Right through here. 2 minutes each side.
And for some reason, if somebody has a hard time getting it there, if they are really rounded through their back, they have a hard time getting that angle. Using it against a wall, they can lean against the wall and hit that because they can find the angle to hit a little bit better.
Cool.
All right.
So that's what we're looking at for mobility. We'll come back with some stability stuff.